Right, welcome to our next lesson on non-verbal reasoning. Now, non-verbal reasoning is about looking at the shapes and what's going on with the shapes. Today, we're going to be looking at shapes that are in series from the first one to the last one. For example, in question 5, and this question here, this is a first shape. It's a hexagon. Actually, it's a pentagon. And the shape has something seems to have happened with the shape to give us that, then that, then that. Now, with questions like this, you will be asked to find the next shape in the pattern. Usually, it's to do with the shapes rotating. Like this one, I can see clearly that this shape seems to be turning. In some other cases, there are other things that you can look for. Okay, so we're going to be looking at some as 10 questions today to help you with that in your 11 class or your 7 entrance exam. Again, as I always say, always read the instruction carefully and then look at the example. It says each of these questions has 5 squares on the left that are arranged in order. Okay, so about 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 squares have got shapes in there. Now one of the squares is missing. So one of the shapes in the square is missing. One of the squares on the right should go in its place. So you need to pick one of these here to go there. Now find which one of the 5 squares on the right should go in place of the empty square. So the first thing you need to do is to look. Now what I'm going to draw to your attention is basically rotation. You need to know your rotation. Okay, things normally start with the north. And if you rotate this way, so things normally start with the north going facing up. So that's basically the north. Like that. If I turn this shape to look this way, then I've done what you call 90 degrees clockwise. Okay? So this shape was facing like that, and is now turning to face this direction. Then it's done 90 degrees clockwise. Now I can then also turn this one down to face down here. Okay, so I can face it face down. So that's going to be another 90 degrees clockwise further. Okay. And then I can turn this face to face this one here to face this side. So facing like that. And that would be just about another 90 degrees. And I can return it back there. Okay. So if you're going this way, we are talking about clockwise, but you could also go the other way around, which is going to be anti-clockwise. Now the angles they normally look for a lot in exam would always be 90 degrees. So most of always be 90 degrees, making up a sharp corner like that. Or it will always be 40 degrees. Okay, so 40 degrees would be something in the middle like that. So this is 45 degrees. Okay, so starting from that and going all the way there. So that there will be 45 degrees. Okay, so this is 90 and this is going to be about 45. So this rotation here is 45 degrees clockwise. You could also have 45 anti-clockwise going back like that. So this one here, so from this direction to that direction, that's going to be 45 anti-clockwise. So with this kind of shapes, you need to see what angle they are making and in which direction, because I can see here it's just rotation. This thing is just turning. Okay, so let's see. Right, so when I do the first one, now with a shape like this, the first thing is to identify what's happening. I can see that it's basic rotation. And then what you need to do is to focus on what's going on. Just pick one side. I'm going to pick this arrow here. I can just pick this arrowhead here, like that. Picking that arrowhead, I can just color it there. Okay. That's the arrowhead there. Now then you can then trace it here and see what's happening. Trace it there and see what is happening there. And trace it here and see what is happening. Then becomes very easy to see what's happening. Okay. Now in this one, the arrow is facing this side. In this one is facing that, so it is made 45 degrees clockwise. Okay, in this one here. And then in this one now, he's facing, that's not facing that side, that's a bit too much. Okay, so this one is going to be something like that, the direction. Then this one is something like that. And then this one is something like that, going down. Okay, so with this one, this is going to be turning somewhere in this corner. Okay, so it's going to be something like this. It's going to be something like that. Okay, I shall have turned that. So I'm expecting something like that. Okay, so the opposite of this as it goes backwards. Okay, now with that, then I can even I can see which one here has got that arrow there. I can see A seems to be like it because A is facing that direction. just like this one. That's it. C is off because it's facing up there. Yeah, that's not. That's also facing up. Is out. This is facing this side, which is not, and that's facing that side. So the correct answer is basically A. Okay. So you need to see what angle they are doing, and then you just basically follow it with your finger or draw an arrow and see what answer it is. Okay. Now, not all of them are rotations. Some of them are reflections or something. So I'll try to try question 1 and 2. And today what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to just go over some questions. I won't be able to go over every question, but the idea will be the same. Looking for the rotation, looking for reflection, looking for additions of bits and pieces in the diagram. So try question 1 and question 2. Okay, hope you've tried that. Right, so with this one here, it appears to be like rotation because I can see the black and the grays, they keep to be going around. They keep to be going around. So it's to do with the rotation. So all I need to do now is to, use one of these shapes here and just see what angle of rotation it is. Okay? Right, so I might focus on the black bit here. So we're gonna focus on the black bit here. And I see where the black is facing. So this black here seems to be facing this direction. Okay, there. So you can do that. It's facing that direction. Yeah. Here the black is facing that side. It's facing up that way. So this one is facing like that. Okay. Now I don't know what's gonna face here, but then I can just basically current here. The black is now facing this direction. Okay, so I'm gonna write that. So that's where the black is facing. The black is again facing here, the direction. Okay. Right. So I will need to know now what angle this thing is making. To do that, you can connect these things. Yeah, you can draw this arrow and then take this one off and put it at the end of here to see what rotation it is. So if I take this other arrow and I put it here, like that, you can see that they make right angle. Okay, so let me just do that clearly for you. So if I throw that arrow there, I can ignore that arrowhead there, and I take this one and I put it here in that direction, you can see that this is making 90 degrees. Okay, so which means that every single time the shape is rotating at 90 degrees. Okay, so now what you need to think about is what this one is. This one is facing that way, so you can basically just draw a line if you want in that direction. Now, then you need to draw another one that is 90 degrees to this. So that's going to be like this. Yeah, to make 90 degrees there. So that's going to look something like this. Okay, to make 90 degrees. So this circle, this black here should be somewhere here, facing this corner here. Okay. So the black should be taking this position here, facing this corner here. So that's where the black should be facing. So if you look at this diagram, this is not, that is not. The only answer here I'm seeing is basically E. Okay, now let's see what the answers say. Yeah, like I said earlier, is basically in. So the black is facing this direction there, just like you find it there. And there's so many ways you can visualize this. So many ways you can visualize this. You can do that in your own style to be able to find what it is about. Okay. All right, so let's try question 2. Now with question 2, it's no rotation. But if I look at this, I can see this is basically a mirror line. They're facing each other. It means that they're just basically being reflected. Okay. So if you look at this triangle here and that one, they have been reflected. That's a mirror image. And this little triangle as well, and these dots here. And this shape and that shape, they are away from this mirror, same distance, behind the mirror, same distance. If I look at this one and this one here, I see the same thing. Okay, this is the mirror line. This is far away from the mirror line, as this is also far away, same distance. These two triangles are images of each other reflected on this. You know, when you're in the mirror, it's as if you're turning yourself back, front to back. So this triangle is facing there, and this facing the opposite side. It means that they've been reflected on this. Okay, so it means that here we're gonna need to think about the reflection of this, or even the reflection of that. And I think it's gonna be It's gonna be easy to use this. Now, pretend you are in a mirror line, in front of a mirror, and this is you, and you're looking yourself here. What you're gonna see happening, you're gonna see yourself facing yourself. Okay, so this triangle, these two triangles, they'll be facing this other one here. Then on the other side, they're gonna be facing this one here. So if I was to draw them, they're gonna be looking things like this. Okay, so this triangle here, and the little one is gonna be also looking something like that. Okay, little ones. You see. So therefore, the shape that is facing that way, if I look at it, it's gonna be A seems to be the one, or even C. Okay, so these are the ones that I can pick. So I can think about narrowing down to either A or either C. Okay. This is the shape you're wanting and should just basically face itself. The little one should be at the top, and the little triangle should be at the top, and the bigger one should be at the bottom. Okay. So with A, that seems to be right. That seems to be right with A. Okay. So that's that, and that's that. And it seems to be right as well with C. So what you need to do now is to carefully look at what's really going on. You want to carefully look at what's going on. Okay. So what's going to be the difference between A and C? So I want you to take just 1 minute and just think about now which one is going to be the right one. Is it going to be A or is it going to be C? Now, remember I told you that if you're standing in front of the mirror, your image has to be nearer the mirror if you are nearer to it. Do you understand? Or your image has to be far away from the mirror if you're far away from it. For example, pretend this is you and this is the mirror here. Look at how far you are from it. And your main image is also very, very far from it. Okay. But with this one here, this is you are very close to the mirror. So your image is going to be very, very close. So if you look at A here, this other one, the image is very, very far from the mirror line here. It's far. But as for C, it is close as it should be. Okay. So the right answer is going to be C, because it's a reflection that is close to the mirror as the other one. So the answer is E and C. Okay, right. So moving on to question 3 and 4. Okay, so pause the video and then try question 3 and 4. Okay, right. Hope you've tried that. I'm not going to do question 3 for you. I'm just going to do question 4. Then I'm going to show you the answer for that, because some of them you can just read the answer and then you can find out to do it. Now with this one, what I've noticed is that this is a cube, and if I look at these diagonal lines here, the black diagonal lines, here they're in front, but in this one they're on the other side. Okay, it's as if it's rotated to be on that side. So here is on the front. Let me call the front number 1. And here, instead of being in number 1, it's going to be in number 2. It's face the other side, face 2. Okay. So if the front is number 1, so this front here is basically 1, and this side is number 2, I can see that this diagonal, the black ones, they are now on number 2. So this thing is just rotating once, anti-clockwise. Okay. Right. So that means that this diagonal line here, if you see this one here, there's an X there. In the next one, it's going to be at the back of this, because it shall have turned round to be at the back, the other side. That's where it's going to be. Okay. Right. So we're going to use that principle to help us with this. So with this one here, this circle in front is going to be on number 2. It's going to rotate the other side. It's going to be somewhere there, facing this side, in this direction. So it's going to be on that side. That's where the black is going to be. So that's the first thing. Now, so I'm going to look for that shape that has got that circle there. So the circle facing this number 2 position. Okay. So it could be A, because it's facing number 2, so the side. And it could be this one is facing number 2, the side, or it could even be this one. Okay. So these ones are obviously out. So it's either A or B or D. Okay. Now to help me, I now want to think about what's going to be number 1 there. What's going to be in this position? What's going to be facing the front here? Okay. Now I'm going to use this one to help me. This position that has now turned to become number 2 here would have been number 1 here. Okay, so this line that I'm seeing here, before turning, it was in front here. Okay, so it was in front here. So this line here, this dashed line here, has to be in front. So I can see it's basically in front. So the dashed line, which is this one now, would have been in front in this one before turning. So the right answer is going to be this. Okay, so that's how to do that. Right, okay, so we marked your work, and then we're going to try question 5 and question 6. So I would like you to look at this carefully, and I'm going to give you the mark scheme to try following it up and just mark your answer. So pause the video and try them. Look at the rotation, look at the coloring, look at some shapes moving places to see what the pattern is. Okay, hope you'll try that. So question 5 is A and question 6 is E, and the explanation is all there for you to follow. Okay, hope you've done that. Right, so moving on to the next one. I would like to try question 7 and 8. and I might go over question 7 or both of them for you. So pause the video and try this. Right, so hope you've tried it. Now with this, I can see that this small circle here is getting bigger. It's getting bigger at the bottom, and it's getting bigger. But even as it gets bigger, the color seems to be alternating. If it was white here, it becomes black here. If it was black here, it becomes white. So the next one should be black, but a bit bigger than this. Okay, so it looks like that's going to be B or D or even E. But E is too big because here, that black, this one here should go bigger, but not as big as this one. Right? So it should be here black, but it should be less than this in terms of size. So it appears that the answer is going to be B or D. Now, the other thing I can look for, I can see that this star is getting more. So I've got 4 stars here. Here I've got 5 stars. Here I've got 6 stars. And here I've got 8 stars. So this should be 7 stars then. Okay, so if I count this, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So B seems to be the right answer. Let me check this one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that has got extra stars. So the correct answer would then be B. Okay. All right, so looking at question 8, I've got the raindrop inside there. There's this blank raindrop here. I can see it here as well. I can see it here. So you must have raindrop. The raindrop seems to be changing direction. Okay, so in here, if I look at the tip here, the tip seems to be facing up. Okay, so the tip seems to be facing up. Okay. Here the tip seems to be facing this way. And here the tip seems to be facing down. So this thing is rotating 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So with this one, I'm expecting it to face that way. Okay, so that means that A is correct, B is correct, and E is correct. So I need now to think about which is the right one. Now I can see that the raindrop is blank in the first, then it's dashed with the lines in the second, then it's blank. So it should be dashed then. Okay, it should be filled up with the lines in this one. Right, so I'm going to look for that one. So A could be right because it's filled up with the lines, or E could be right. So it's either A or it's E. Okay, but then I now need to look at the direction of the dashed lines. The dashed lines are also changing direction. So if you look at them carefully, let's look at the rotation of the dashed lines. So these dashed lines, if I think about them, let's pretend they're facing that way. These ones are facing down. They're facing diagonal in that direction, which means it's turned 45 degrees anti-clockwise. Okay, these ones are facing down. So these ones should be facing that direction then, if it's doing 45 anti-clockwise, because these ones have gone back than that. Okay, so the diagonal should be running in this direction like that. Okay, which I can see is basically only A. So the correct answer to that is basically going to be A. Okay. So you're going to mark your work quickly. And then you're going to move on to question 10. I would like you to do question 9 and 10 by yourself. Then I'm going to just show you the answers so then you can mark them. So pause the video and try question 9 and question 10. Okay, hope you've tried that. So I'm just going to put the answers for you with explanation on how to do that. So that's question 9 and that's question 10. So look at the explanation if you didn't get it right. Okay. Right, so that's it. We are well done for today. That's going to be the end of our session.